This demo shows an example of what a Saas dashboard could look like on Vybe. There was no coding involved whatsoever, and this app was entirely created through prompting and iteration. Now, the first step in any dashboard is data. So here, I've displayed all my data from Supabase, which is what acts as my database. Obviously, it's all fake data. I just want to make sure everyone knows. So I have displayed my users, projects, and organizations here. And within each one, I can drill down into an individual user and have more information. And then I can see, for example, the organization. So I can go ahead and go to that organization. And each org has their own members that I can then go back to. Projects also have their own detailed page. We'll take a look a little bit deeper at that later. Now, the main thing that a Saas dashboard has is a dashboard, obviously. So let's go take a look. We have some graphs of just signups per week, unique visitors per week. And what's interesting is we have we can add some trends and goals. So the goals are fully configurable in the settings. Let's go take a look. For example, my signups per week are 20. Let me lower them to 17. If I save and then go back to my dashboard, all of a sudden the goal is now 17. I have a user funnel, just another Vybe coded easily, just another way of visualizing the data through a funnel of unique visitors, and then 23% of those are signed up, and then of the signed up, 80% created a project, and then of those deployed a project. If we go down a little bit lower, we have the different graphs for the conversion rates, so visitors to signed up, and with a bit of an overlay here. These are all things that are relatively simple to do in another dashboard builder, but still aren't as flexible and easily changeable as what's possible in Vybe. There's no point going too deep into the actual data, but I can still show the project tab on the dashboard, which demonstrates relatively similar data, just a little bit more spread out of the projects, and also the projects by source, which could be useful for depending on the company. And then the last tab is retention, with a chart with retention by cohort, meaning that it will take each week and how many users signed up during that week, and look in the following weeks how many of those customers stayed active. And obviously, the more recent the week, the less amount of data we have of the following weeks, as they haven't been there for long enough. That's why we have this upside down staircase. You'll notice some of the data is a little bit off, and that's purely because my fake data is not entirely accurate. That would be from a real company. And you can also go into the account, just a different way of visualizing the percentage. Now, the next part is going to be AI. What you can add is a bunch of different AI tools. The example I have here is in my projects. If we take a look at the projects that have more messages, and so we have our conversation here, the user is asking to build a financial dashboard, whatever, it doesn't matter. What it read from the conversation based on the UX quality and the goal completion. Some more ideas that could be easily implemented in a dashboard would be maybe a general summary, a weekly summary, maybe some sort of sorting system that will take a look at which company is most likely to turn. Anything's possible. One thing that might be a bit of a pain is if your company's data is split between multiple sources. So in this case, I mentioned my database lives in Supabase, but I also have my billing that is fully in Salesforce. And so what I'm going to do is I pulled it from my Salesforce customers up here and then displayed it in a billing tab. And all this data from Supabase, Salesforce can be combined, do anything. In this case, I just have a list of my paid customers with my MRR and just a little bit more data. The last thing we have is actionability. or actions that we can do after looking at this data. Some examples are some bulk email campaigns. So sending a bunch of emails from a template, a bunch of emails to all my users. So from a template, let me just send, for example, a re-engagement template. And then we'll just send to one person for the example. I can go look at my emails, and we see that I have sent an email to Amanda Harris, which is our recipient here. Obviously, this email doesn't actually exist, but it's still a proof of concept that we sent an email. Same thing with Slack notification. I can send to a specific channel, and I can send a type of template. And then once I send, let's go look at Slack. Oh, look, there's our template sent. Here's another one. Churn outreach. So sending to all the churn companies and trying to reach them back. In settings, I can also configure some important things. For example, the Gmail, which email is sending those bulk emails. In this case, I just have some like example emails and personal ones. But if I had a company email, I could just add it and then pick it instead. As well as my Slack configuration, I can pick which is the default channel and then change my email templates as I want. Keep in mind, this Saas dashboard is very generic with the goal of trying to make you kind of visualize what your Saas dashboard could look like so that when you go ahead and actually build it, it can be a lot more customized and you can have a lot more ideas on what to actually build it with. Now to get started, take a look at the guides and it'll give you some modules to follow along and build your own dashboard. Good luck.